Hello everyone, hi and welcome back to my channel. How are you on this wonderful Thursday? Are you well? Lovely to see you all. So we are again carrying on with our journey through the tarot cards, and we are on the Minor Arcana, the Two of Swords. So we'll be looking at the Two of Swords and some of the actual meanings based on the symbology of the cards, and of course the Rider-Waite deck that we always use in order to give us the wonderful symbology that has so much to offer to us tarot readers and people that are interested in tarot. So don't forget about your astrology or your numerology, and of course, you know, what is this all about? Well, nobody knows everything about tarot, do they? Not at all. But if you want to know enough to be able to feel proud that you are able to answer questions to yourself in your readings, or to give others your insight into what you feel the cards are interpreting, you know, none of us are the same, and none of us are complete experts, because how can you ever know it all? But you can be incredibly good at what you do by actually studying the cards. So I've been doing this for a very long time now, and so on this channel I'm here to help people, and we're here to learn from anybody that's got some insight that would help us along our way with tarot. But of course I am here because I've actually, well, I founded a tarot company and produced a tarot deck, and I've been studying the tarot on various courses, books for way too long. Too many decades to mention. I don't want to give my age away. So, and yeah, I've worked as a professional tarot reader for 30 years, and I've been teaching tarot to people like you for a very long time. And what comes up is what people want. Not everybody wants the same thing. So one of the most important things is perhaps deciding what kind of reader you want to be. And that is important. Some people want to give short readings, yes or no answers. Some people want to do traditional. Some people want to focus on the symbology, or they're looking to actually go into the intuitive side of their skills, which is fine. But what can happen is, if you don't know enough about the meanings, you may find that people want more than you are able to give them from just your intuition. That is where this comes in. Okay, so before we jump into our live with the actual meaning of the card, the Two of Swords, let me show you this. Hi. Oh, hello. Hi, Onda. How are you? Good to see you. And hi, Carla. How are you? Lovely to see you. Thank you very much. It's lovely to see you both. So good of you to come and join us. This one is one of those ones where you go, oh gosh, what can I say about this card? So remember that if you want to come on as a guest, you're more than welcome to do so. If you want to type in your question, or you want to give a tip, or check something, or share something with us, feel free. You are able to come in as a guest. I've just put the link on there. You've just got to click on that, and yeah, if you tell us a little bit about where you are in your tarot journey, then we're in a position to be able to invite you on and have a bit of a discussion all about this card, or something you want to talk about tarot. Just happens to be our theme. Don't forget, folks, that this is a series. I will be amending what will I say, the YouTube sort of playlist, so that people can find the fact that this is something that we are doing week by week. So we're studying one card 78 weeks, because there are 78 cards. So the Minor Arcana card, the Two of Swords. So the Two of Swords depicts a woman alone. It looks as if it's nighttime, and she's blindfolded, holding up two swords. And this woman is wearing a grey nightgown. Now, grey indicates that she's not ready to make a decision, and she wants to rest from her situation. She's outside, she's alone in the cold night air, and with the grey of her outfit, she will be in contemplation. She's isolated and maybe frozen to the spot, not literally frozen in temperature, but look at her, she's very still. And it also shows as if it's that bluey sort of iciness where there is no warmth shown here. Her nightgown is covering her entire body, and that indicates that her mental state is controlling her, and it's keeping her in this place. In other versions, we can see, and I'll show you another card later on, this is the Radiant Rider-Waite for those that are interested. In other versions, it's shown as an icy blue. It's almost icy blue here, but you know, it depends on how you're looking at it. Now, all is aimed at showing her isolation with her coldness in her thinking. If we look, she is wearing some slippers, and they are yellow, the same yellow as the moon. And this represents her indecision about what direction she should take. So swords are all about our mental process, they're about our communication. Now, in some Rider-Waite decks, you can see them as beige, and you know, it's kind of a neutral thing, but her feet are actually facing outwards in opposite directions. This is showing her to be in two minds about her situation. She doesn't know whether to go one way or another, whether to choose this or to choose that. And each foot is backing one side of the debate or the problem. She's sitting with her legs slightly apart. That's desiring the movement with the awareness that action is needed, but she cannot move in two directions at once, and she feels stuck with an unresolvable set of options. Bear with me, folks. I am going to pour myself some water. It's getting warm in here, and I just need to be able to keep speaking because I've got a lot to say. Please ask any questions, do say hi, and let us know where you're from. It's always lovely to know whereabouts in the world you may be watching from. Always, always very exciting. So her blindfold is the same grey as her nightgown, so she cannot see what she needs to see in order to make an unbiased judgment. And the blindfold is placed on her, representing her indecision. Now she can remove that, but she's chosen avoidance and denial. Look, if she puts the swords down, she can take it off, can't she? So she's consciously avoiding acting on an issue and holding on to inner conflict. So the blindfold does not cover her third eye. Notice that. So she can still use her intuition. That's on her side. Yet, let's look at that waxing moon in the background. She may not feel that she can trust it. I'll talk a bit more about that in a moment. Her seat is cold stone. And this makes her situation stressful, uncomfortable, unwelcoming, and intimidating. She's sitting upright, which helps her maintain her balance with the two large swords that she's holding, but also it shows how rigid she is and her inability to be able to move without incident, as even the slightest shift in her position would cause further problems in those swords if they fall. Okay, oh gosh, sorry. Hello, Sherry. Hello, how are you? Cheers. I'm going to have some water. How are you doing? Lovely to see you. Are you well? Yeah? Working? Sherry. It's always good to see you. Sherry's been following me for quite some time now, and it's wonderful to see you again. Okay, thanks, Sherry. Do ask any questions. I know you're probably working away and listening, but I'm very grateful for you saying hello and letting us know that you're there, because otherwise we don't know. Okay, right. So, where did I get to? Yeah, she is rigid, isn't she? And so, if she moves slightly, sorry, woo, itchy nose, surprise. Oh, no. We're just grateful when we see you. Always a pleasure, my dear. I know you're busy. I know you've got a lot going on. I hope it's all working out. Not easy, I know. And just working too. Good for you. Okay, so you're wonderful. Thank you. Thank you. So, if she moves, she's going to get more problems, because look at the strength that it must take to hold up even one of those swords. Two of them and across. Oh, that's hard. So the two swords are representing the decisions and the options and the paths. It's symbolic of that. The sides, the solutions, the choices, and maybe some of the ways forwards. However confronting this is, dealing with the swords can be difficult, because it's to do with our thoughts, it's to do with our mental capacity, it's to do with indecision in this case, and whatever one she chooses, she knows it will cause some tension and upset, especially if she chooses the wrong one. So it's a bit like going, I'm not moving until I actually have some insight here. The swords are at an angle, showing that a lot of effort is needed to keep them balanced. As I said, they're heavy and they could fall at any moment. That would cause pain and disruption. Yet at least at that point a decision would be made, wouldn't it? It would make that decision for her. So to put them down means she's got to change position and remove the blindfold and deal with things, and then decide which side to go for or pick. So this is a decision that she's not ready to make and not able. And quite often in a reading, you'll see people and they'll say, well, when is it going to happen? Sometimes when you see this card, do not forget that meaning, because it is talking about the fact that sometimes people aren't ready. People say, when are they going to this and when are they going to that? Everybody is different. People do things at their own pace and when they're ready. So remember that. That's a real sort of little thing. And you might go, well, what is all this? How am I going to remember all this for a reading? You're not. What happens is you've got all this information, and when you get your cards out and you're using your intuition, you're going to be in a position to be able to go, that's what's come to me. And that might be your own intuition and nothing to do with the meanings of the cards. But maybe all of this has gone into your subconscious, and somewhere along the line it's connecting the dots together for you. And without it, what have you got to go on? Or you might find that you read a card and you get all of this for somebody, or just one or two bits. And every time you read it, you get something different, and it doesn't ever seem to be the same. But at least you've got a lot of substance here. Okay, so resting on her shoulders, that's what she's doing. She's doing that. On the shoulders, that's showing the mental burden. If she tries to remove the blindfold without putting the swords down, well, personal injury, isn't it? And a loss of control, of course. So she's sitting and hoping that it's going to resolve itself, because she's blind to a solution, and that's what the blindfold symbolically represents. Her arms are crossed, and they're going across the heart chakra, and that's leaving her emotional energy blocked, and she's ignoring what's going on as she's trying to avoid any conflict. She doesn't want to do anything. So her arms are crossed because she's got crossed interests and she doesn't know what to do and she can't resolve it. She could even be at a crossroads within her life that she can't face. So it might be internal, it might be all about her. I don't know what to do. It doesn't affect anyone else, but if I do that, I'm on a crossroads and I've got no choice. You know, maybe you've got two different options: where to move, which job to take, you know, which boyfriend or whatever, you know, which partner. And you kind of go, well, if I make that choice, that's it. And there are such things. We know this. This is life. This is what life throws at us. It's nighttime, and that shows us that she can't see things clearly. And leaving her situation are not seen in truth or clarity, but in confusing shadows in the moonlight. Now, that waxing moon shows ideas and solutions, that they're not really fully formed. And the moon, in the state of change, leaves her feeling very confused. The waxing moon makes the tides low and high and of similar depths. So she's not able to see the subtle differences around her. You know, high tide, you'd kind of go, well, I'm going to do that. Low tide, I'm going to do that. And so, you know, she's just not got that. There may be no definition between her choices. We can see that in the picture, as in with the water that's behind her and the rocks that are showing, and the land in the background. So she's waiting for a sign, but that's not present yet. And so she's trying to remain and keep that status quo. In some versions of this card, the fog is surrounding her, around her head. I don't really feel that that's the case in this particular card that I'm showing you, which is the radiant one. If we see that, it's just symbolic and representing insecurity, confusion and doubts, where she cannot think clearly. So like her emotions, the water's trapped, showing that her emotions are stuck, ignored and literally not faced. I know that this is swords and it's about the mental state, but we've also got to look at the fact that we've got the water, which represents the emotions that's in the card. The trapped water left behind by the receding tide shows the shallow, trapped emotions and thoughts that's been left, which she can't move. And if we look, the water's moving very gently, you know, it's not choppy or anything like that. So her emotions are in motion, showing her difficult emotional problems, which she's ignoring and not facing. Still, there's not too much force going on there, so she's avoiding making waves. We can see that with the way the water is. In the water behind, can you see that there is algae growing and forming on the water? And it's got very little movement. Now, the algae is about stagnation and inaction, and that her problems might be long term. So she seems to be very stuck. Yet she's turning her back on the problems. How do we know that? Because she's got her back facing to the mountains and the rocks behind, which represent challenges and problems in tarot. Always remember that. And she does not wish to face her confusion or slip up on the algae or the rocks. The water's really shallow, and so that means that we can't use a boat, which would give her a clear passage, like the Six of Swords, to escape from this place. And that would mean risking the currents, that obviously represent the deeper emotional filled waters. So behind her lies the sandy beach or landmass that we can see in the background. But the dark is stopping us from seeing the definitions, so we don't really know what that is, and it can be a bit confusing. It's pictured here coloured in sort of pastel colours, as if the sun's sort of trying to set, telling us that something has got to end here. Something must be dealt with in order to be able to move on. So she is allowing her indecision and her inability to face a situation which is causing her a lot of unhappiness. She fears the conflict of the swords in their balance, if they're tipped, that it'll bring her and the situation to a stalemate. She may be in a no-win situation or stuck between two choices where there's no outcome or pathway that's favourable. Yet she's not seeking a solution, is she? She is allowing fate to have its say, and so she's hoping that her problems will resolve themselves for her, or they'll just go away. 2. The number 2 equals balance, harmony, interaction. It's also significant in numerology of building bridges. So it's time to wake up and smell the coffee when we get this card. And you may wish to avoid confrontation or deal with issues, but it's not going to go away. So it's better to face problems head on and be in control rather than have to deal with it when things have already fallen apart and the decision has been forced on you. Some of the meanings of the Two of Swords, well, the Two of Swords brings us a stalemate situation. It's an uneasy truce and a personal conflict between yourself and a situation or someone else. Okay, so it can be conflict with yourself, with your situation, or with another person. Okay, bear with me, sip of water. Right, let me play this while I just have a gulp of water. Okay. Back. Look what I've done. I've changed the card for you. Don't know if you like that or not, but I thought I'd try it. Feedback. Do you like me to do that, or do you want me to stick with the same old card? Sorry, I did have water, but I needed some more. Right. Okay, you're not asking any questions, so I'm doing all the talking. Okay, please say hello. It means so much to me when you just say hi, and I know perhaps who might be watching or wanting to know a little bit more about what we're doing. Okay, right. Thoughts and feelings are torn and concerning for this lady in our card. She doesn't know what's best. Oh, good girl, Margaret. How are you? Margaret's been making some fabulous pendants she's been showing me, and the colours are absolutely amazing. Clever girl, Margaret is. Very creative in many, many, many different ways. And I thought those pendants were very much colourful in the way of chakras. And don't know why I'm out tonight. You know, I felt like being colourful, and suddenly I found myself, everything's orange. Last week, everything was green. And there is a reason, even though subconsciously, you know, we decide what we're wearing and what we're going to actually add to our attire, as it were. And we think we don't make choices, but we do. So I was feeling a bit tired today, so I think I chose an orange shirt quite simply because I needed my mojo to be helped along by, oh my gosh, my eyes were getting really tired. So little help from the orange. Not at all, not at all. Absolutely marvellous. Honestly, the kind of thing that makes me quake in my boots as in doing anything arty, because although I like the idea of it, I make such a hash of it and get very frustrated. I'm not creative in that department. So always really enjoy people who are, and how they got the persistence and patience to actually not throw the thing out the window. So thanks, Margaret. Anyway, I digress. So thoughts and feelings will be torn concerning what's the best thing to do. And the problem, if we don't deal with it, if we ignore it or we avoid it, then indecision will rule, leaving you not knowing what way to turn. And if you opt to be, ignorance is bliss, it'll only work for a while. So the effort and the pressure of keeping the situation static will have to come crashing down at some stage. I mean, symbolically, how long do you think anyone could hold those swords up like that? So that leaves you facing a situation that you wish to avoid. You know, a bit like saying, well, can we talk about the elephant that's in the room or not? Do you see what I mean? So there will be tension combined with temporary peace, but it won't last. Eventually, it'll explode, and that could lead to arguments occurring, however hard we try to ignore the situation. Decisions are waiting to be made. Problems need to be accepted, and the need for change is pressing. If the situation is ignored, the answer will be forced, as we said. So looking the other way won't work. And it won't work in the long term, will it? Because then the denial will backfire on you. So when you get this card, we can feel ill-prepared to decide or accept a situation. And it can leave us feeling defensive, hopeless in our attitude, as if we're choosing to ignore a problem and that it'll magically disappear. And we hope, obviously, that it will. We've all been there. Brushing things under the carpet is summed up with this card. You know, everything is based on what you wish it would be rather than what it really is. And changes will be ignored, and the old status quo will, you know, we cling to that. I want it all to be the same. Nobody likes change. Nobody wants to be looking at trying to make difficult decisions. The only solution with this card is to try a bit of give and take and be prepared for the heat and the discussions as you deal with what you're trying to avoid. And sometimes what we most need to avoid is our biggest growth. The uncomfortable feelings of truth that we wish to escape from cannot be hidden from forever. So it's a card calling a truce, to agree, to disagree, to accept, to be open about your inability to make a choice. But we should do something before someone else does, and means that we don't have that decision anymore. Two of Swords. Any questions? Okay. Any questions, anybody? Yeah? Well, Two of Swords, it's about painful decisions, isn't it? Cross purposes, stalemate. And some key words are mental decisions, stress, painful decisions, cross purposes, torn between maybe loyalties or torn between relationships, a stalemate. Sitting on the fence, you know, I don't want to make any decision. I'm sitting here and I'll work out what everyone else is doing first. Denial, an inability to face your fears, or wanting to blind yourself to the truth because maybe it's painful or it hurts you, or it might be even the past that's causing you to not be able to make a decision. Or sometimes it's a card of feeling caught in the middle. So seeing the fact that this lady is sitting with her back to the water and the tide is out, she's sitting on that stone seat holding those two swords, crossing her heart. And we could look at the fact, because she's crossing her heart, that she's protecting her heart from something. And while the swords stand in the way, nothing can get at her. Likewise, nothing can leave and nothing can come in. So that's why it's a stalemate. Sitting blindfold is the inability of wanting to see, even though she's not covering the third eye. The sky and the water behind her are very clear and they're calm. And, you know, in the other card, there was a slight mist compared to this card. And that is just telling us with the crescent moon that it's illuminating the landmass in the background. So that's the kind of thing of, you know, it suggests that this woman, because it's a waxing stage, that she's found herself in this situation. Shh. Thank you. And both the sky and the tide give the impression that it's very early in the morning in the sky, before it's nighttime. But how long has this woman been sitting there in this manner? I mean, it's quite hard. She's sitting there rigid, as if she's made of stone. And judging by her fixed sort of stance, we can assume she's been there for a long time. Well, you know, the Two of Swords is in keeping with the nature of the suit of the governing element of air. Okay, so that's Geminis, Libras and Aquarians. And it can indicate that it's a mental crisis of some sort, i.e. of indecision, not knowing what to do. And so we know that it's the Two of Swords, therefore the crisis is much more likely to be about making a decision about something else, not like the Ace, the self. Two is about how to build bridges with other people and the connection. And the decision is probably affecting someone or something else. And because we're dealing with the swords, well, swords aren't easy, and it's causing stress and it's causing a lot of anguish. And you know, she's got to decide what to do, even though the situation is probably at cross purposes. And she may have gone to great lengths to make a decision. It's not just about being flaky. She might have removed herself from all the drama that's going on so that she can think quietly and be responsible for her own thoughts and communication to make her decision without any interference from the outside. Although she may have sat there for some time, it doesn't look like she's much closer to making a decision in that in our figure in the card. And one of the questions that, you know, you might ask when you get this in a reading is, what have we got to gain or lose as a result of making such a decision? Maybe we've lost our way unwittingly and we've been dragged into someone else's problem. Whatever the dilemma, when we get this card, it does cause us to have, you know, great turmoil. And there's a feeling of being overwhelmed by the enormity of the task at hand. So we don't know what to do. And, you know, when we look at it, what good is having the blindfold on? What purpose is it serving? You know, choosing not to see. Does it help us cut out all the, you know, to be blinkered, to actually go within, maybe? It might help us to focus on the main issue. It's, again, like I said earlier, remember, it's sometimes about not being ready. And does it force her to turn inwards? So maybe by putting on the blindfold, you're forced to go within, aren't you? And that can be the way in which things go. So that we look inside ourselves at our subconscious or our intuition for our own internal guidance. And if that's the case, then that's wisdom. And that stillness and that time that we give ourselves in a troublesome issue is to be commended. On the other hand, you know, sometimes we can hide behind the blindfold. So, you know, all of this, the other cards in the spread will tell you what's going on in the position. If you go on my courses and you look at a very special spread that will help you know who, what, where, when, how, and which. Okay? So she could be using it deliberately to keep herself in the dark just about how awful the situation is going on around her. And the less she knows, the better, then she can remain blind to the truth. So, maybe that's what the blindfold is. It's any one of these. But you will know when you're in the reading and you look at the other cards and it all comes together. And so important, where is it in the position? That's why. 3 cards. Past, present, future. What's that doing? How about physically, intellectually, emotionally, spiritually, subconscious, the conscious, background effects from others, obstacles from others, what's happening in a month's time, 12 months' time, what's happening in home, work, finance, you see? That's what the spread does. So the spread that I give you is a map to find out where is this happening. So for example, if this is happening in herself, we know it's about her. But what if this is happening in the 6th house, as in the spread? And the 6th house, astrologically, it's all to do with our daily routine and our work. We'd know that that's where the conflict lays. Or in the 4th house, our domestic life, something to do with our family or people in our dwelling if we are, not around family. Or, in a house of our principles and ideals, or in our friendships. All of this is in the courses that I teach. I teach you a system, and the system works so that you can be absolutely certain and not feel that you are not able to deliver just from your intuition or your psychic ability or the fact that you've read loads of books but you don't know how to put it all together. Okay, if you want to learn how to do that, go into my courses. If you want a little bit of support on how to actually gain even more knowledge about what the courses are about, take a peek on Tuesdays. So in order to do that, you really do need to subscribe to my channel, Tarot with Emery, YouTube. I'm not bothered about the subscriptions I've had. That doesn't do me any good whatsoever. But it's a place where you can find everything in one place. Simple. Use all of this, experience and knowledge that I've got to help you. That's what I used to do with my readers and with students that were lost looking for something. Hey ho, my light dimmed down there a little bit. No reason for that. And the dogs are letting me know that they're a bit bored with me for not giving them any attention. Perhaps our figure doesn't want to get involved or to take sides in any way. And the swords positioned over our heart suggest that not only is her head in a bit of a tiswas, but so are her emotions. And she can look still and calm as the ocean is behind her. But don't be deceived by that, because the external experience from what she's experiencing internally is probably struggling, really struggling to maintain stability. A decision needs to be made, and the situation will not resolve itself without our figure's input. And so a battle is raging between the head and the heart with this card. And, she needs to act, but she's remaining rooted on that cold stone seat. And she must rip off that blindfold and face the facts of the awful truth of whatever it is. And she has to come face to face with whatever it is, depending on the circumstances. And again, in your spread, you'll probably be able to find out exactly what this is all about, because all of the different positions will give you the information, because you're parking your pairs, your major minor, to tell you exactly what's going on. Major will tell you exactly what it's all about, and the minor will tell you who, what, where, when, and how, and so will the position. Okay, so that's why it's vital. Hello, my dear, how are you doing? Let's say hi to the passionate Saggy. Are you all right, my lovely? Yeah? Good. Right, okay. I need some water, so I'm going to show you my PDF. Okay. Right. Yeah, my mic's still on. Okay, so bear with me. Here's a PDF that you can download. I meant to turn that down, sorry. Hopefully that's a bit better. It's life, my darling, you know. Right, that's better. Sorry about that. Right, so yeah, this is the PDF with some keywords. Much more of the professional sort of phrasing, I would say. So you can find all of your 78 cards there and download that one. That's a real special one put together with a lot of keywords that you would find you can navigate and get, you know, the gold out of what it is if you're wanting to learn tarot. Let me see, back to page 1. There it is, tarot keywords. So if you're looking for some help, you can do that, and do have a look at the courses. They are not expensive. You learn at your own pace. So back. This is the card that I think people go, oh, I can't think of much to say. Can you see how much there is to say on this one? So there's a lot of discord as a result of this situation, because perhaps the indecision is about not wanting to blow the situation up one way or another. And if it's going to blow, perhaps our figure needs to be prepared for that. And once this happens, you know, friends may be lost, positions may be lost, you know. We could actually declare ourselves, you know, no longer friends because people don't like our decision, or lose our position or standing when we make that clarity. So again, remember what I said, it's a period of maybe they're not ready, and we have to commend if they are going within for the internal advice, because not every situation helps us when we are looking at the external sort of background effects that people can actually try and give us. And, you know, they're not us, they don't know all of the situation. And the beauty of tarot is that it's impartial advice. It's not my advice if I read for someone, it's the tarot's advice. And people say, oh, but your interpretation, nothing to do with me. You know, how it comes through my psychic self, I just feel very comfortable knowing that I've got all of that solid sort of foundations and meanings that actually help everything come together. And that's why people keep coming back, because they know it's nothing to do with, oh, well, you know what I think. What do I know? And sometimes they say, what do you know? And I say, well, gosh, I don't know anything about that. Sorry, you know. But if you're asking me as a person, you know, I don't know what to say to you because I don't know circumstances. But the tarot will tell me, and they probably think it's me. And I always say to them, it's not, you know, but if, whatever, you know. So this is definitely a situation that needs to be brought out into the open so that a resolution can be found. It's the time to actually stop sitting on the fence and remove that blindfold eventually. Even if it's not the right time, it will have to come off eventually, and then we've got to face the fear. Looking at this card, I don't know if you noticed, there are quite a few in the Rider-Waite deck where we can see what looks like a stage behind. You see that backdrop? Yeah? And you see behind, you know, and if you look at the bottom, you can see like a little, you know, what looks like a rod. You know, whereas in theatre, they used to bring that stage down a little bit. And it's like, you know, the scene behind, as it were. So, sorry, I was just a bit uncomfortable there. So symbolically, the water behind represents the emotions and her subconscious. Remember that matter is calm and tranquil. So this could ask a question of, well, what if it's a drama that's all in her head? She might be saying that. The cards might be asking that of her. Or maybe that whole, I'm going into myself and I've put the blindfold on, is going to help her decide whether it is a drama in her head. And we all do that, don't we? We kind of prepare for the worst sometimes, and it's like, phew, didn't happen, it wasn't so bad after all. So has she got herself into, a tis was about nothing? If so, that's quite typical of the sword family. Not Librans and Geminis and Aquarius, I hasten to add. I mean when the sword family affects us in our readings. It's an aspect of us that can actually cause us to feel that, we've blown it out of proportion. But forewarned is forearmed, remember? Remember, the Two of Swords turning up in a reading is definitely a difficult decision that has to be made, and it's bound to cause a lot of stress, and the decision is usually not that straightforward, and you can find yourself very torn between this and the whole situation. So you might be required to take sides in an argument, find out where your loyalties are, whether they're divided. Okay. Possibly. I'm sure there is, but I don't know. I think they're usually called the stage cards, aren't they? That's what I sort of remember, but that could be, what I read and study, an accumulation of so many books that, well, I would say that that was probably something, oh gosh, I don't know. I'm gonna actually say might be something from Liz Green that I'm thinking about it. Probably Liz Green probably talked about what the name is for that, and I think, according to what I got from her, maybe it was actually an article that I also read about lovely Pixie from the Rider-Waite decks, Pamela Cohen-Smith. Yeah, it's there. So yeah, this could be a card of requiring you to take sides in an argument and find out that your loyalties are divided. And once you have to decide, you're at cross purposes with something. It's very difficult to arrive at any decision. But yeah, if anyone knows what the answer is, that for me and passionate Saji, and whether or not, this is why I say nobody knows everything. And this is why I love it when people come in and ask really great questions like that. And it's like, yeah, I need to know it a bit more. Yeah, I think it is the stage card. I think that's what it was. I'm sure that I read that. And I think it was Liz Green. Very, very sort of early on. Maybe even Russell Grant, because I'm trying to remember back when, which would kind of tell me what I was kind of studying at the time, and I was Liz Green and Russell Grant, I think, at the time that I really, really remember first coming across that. Or it could have just been some article that I picked up in maybe Spirit and Destiny magazine back then. I'm just going back to that period of time, which was sort of like 90s, yeah, around about that time. Okay, let's just show you. Do you keep a journal? Does anyone keep a tarot journal? Now, I did, but I didn't realise that's what you called it. It was my workbook. And my workbook started off as a little sort of exercise book that I was given, when we first started our course, and we were given as part of the course, which went on, it was included in the price, Rider-Waite deck, and it was a tarot shop at the front, and the classroom was at the back, and there was 10 of us in this room. Every week for years and years and years. Wonderful, it really was. And we grew bigger and bigger and bigger, so that once all of her students that kind of came in 3 times a week, can you believe, so many different classes, that we went to a community hall for all of us to be able to get under one place together, just to keep practicing, so that we had a buddy all the time, or we were able to actually put our hand up and go, tell me more, I want to actually do more pairs. Yeah. You've got a couple of journals. Great. Yeah. But you see, I think the secret of keeping a journal, and the reason I say I'm so glad I did, I made notes, I do it now. And I'll be doing it tonight in my final numerology class, even though it's recorded for me. I want to make my own notes. Hi, hello, how are you? Hi, Maud. How are you doing? Lovely to see you. Good, good, good. Watch the replay. This has been swords, when I'm teaching the swords, you can't help sometimes but feel it, it affects you. And their energy is, it's logical, it's mental, it's conversations, and it can actually sort of make you feel a bit down, or it can drain you. And of course, when I was preparing for this today, I said to you, gosh, the eyes were getting tired, and it's like, maybe I should have put my glasses on. And, I don't need them as in when I'm at my computer so much, but I do for TV and driving, and of course, now that I'm older, for reading. But my point is, I've lost my train of thought now, sorry. The journals, yes. Very, very important that, I was able to make those notes, because sometimes if you just sit and listen, you think, did I imagine that? Did I dream that? And of course, there was no such thing as recording then. So I kept everything, and then I rewrote everything again, and then I studied, and then I added. But I just wanted to show you that here's a journal that you could use from my website if you want to. And what I've done, I kind of geared it up for all of us that are following the courses, as in, because, I've put 2 cards together, and I've done it for you. So you can put your keywords there, you can put your thoughts, you can put what you think the thoughts are about this card, the feelings, the meanings, the reflections, the interpretations, just so it would get you going. And you can just kind of, write or put in whatever you want. But that's just, what's the beauty of this is you can download it and you can have as many as you want. So I've done you some plain, keywords, because you might have hundreds like I did. And then I've kind of gone through and given you a page for each of the cards. What I mean is, as you can see there, King of Pentacles, Queen of Pentacles, I've just made it really easy. And what's lovely about this is you can just turn around and print another one out. If you've got pages and pages, you can go, right, let's download more of, what page is that? Page 77, the Knight of Pentacles. And so if you want that, and I do suggest you keep a journal. Sometimes I forget to change the date. So you see it goes right through, all right? And then you can, as I said, you are able to go right up, I don't know. Yeah. And there you go. You can just make as many notes. I've tried to make it how I would have wanted it. I had to write as fast as I could. I probably didn't really make that many friends within the tarot classes, simply because I was so busy not wanting to miss a thing. The only time I got to make friends was when we were pairing up to actually help each other learn how to put it all together. And how that used to be, it was great. We were able to actually advertise that students were actually giving readings. So it was a really cheap rate, and people used to book, and they were booked. There goes Jack. Booked ahead. Actually, it's Sandy, I can tell now, screaming. And, it was a way of them actually having, number one, an inexpensive reading, and number two, you were getting students that were putting everything into it, but you're getting two for the price of one, even though we didn't, we were still figuring it out. Then you had the teacher walking around going, nope, what have you missed? Nope. Yes, more, you're on the right path. So they knew it was a training exercise, so it was great. And we can do that. We can do that, but we need more of you first, okay? And you must have done the courses. It's not about your own method, because you know what, that just won't work, as in calling out cards. You can do it on here. That's what this is for. You can turn around and ask about cards or ask any questions. Okay, so let's look at the website before we go out. Okay. So this is where you can find the courses, Major Arcana cards, the intermediate course, and this is all separated for you. Don't want you to be overwhelmed with 78 cards. Take your time. Choose the one you want. Do whichever. The only thing you can't do is do the advanced and try and do the intermediate. You really need to do intermediate before advanced. Why? Because it's part one, part two. Simple as that. Okay. And I know people have done it and they've gone back and just gone, oh yeah, right, I'll buy the intermediate. And as you can see, it's not a fortune. And it's yours for life to look at it whenever you want. And yes, I'm here helping you along. Do what you like, There's the One family, the Pentacles, the Cups, the Swords, all there for you. Keeping it light. A lot of people talk about having their readings and they say to me, this is my therapy, That's not my words, that's theirs. And they often say, what would I do without that? Well, it's a nice thing to say. I'm not a therapist. It's nice that they think of it in that holistic way, perhaps that the tarot is their therapist. Who knows, It's not me, that's for sure. So, has anybody got any questions before we leave? Remember, the Two of Swords is very much about, we can pretend that nothing's wrong. We're hoping the problem's going to go away, and we can be incredibly passive in our situation and, want to be able to say, oh, I'm sure I'll deal with it. But really it's a case of at some point you must get off the fence and make a decision. And you don't have to sit on that cold sort of slab like she is and take yourself away from the world. As long as you can speak your own truth, then everyone will always understand and respect your opinion. One way or another, the mental and emotional stress that accompanies this card will actually come out when it's time. And at some point, you will make a decision, hopefully, and that inner voice will tell you what to do, rather than feeling that, you are pushed into a situation that is beyond your control. So there's also waiting too long. And people say, how will I know that? You'll know. You'll know. We always get those gut feelings, don't we? So, in order to be able to make sure that that's right for you, you will need to find, that there is a sense of peace and quiet, so that you can distance yourself from all the external sort of influences and the background noise that goes on in our lives. Okay, thank you so much for watching. Great to have you here. Do make sure that you subscribe to the website, then you can find all of the videos. Don't forget, this is a series. I suppose I really need to go back and just relabel things so that people can actually realize that it's a series of 78 weeks, and that's 78 Tuesdays where we are actually doing combination, and 78 Thursdays where we're doing one single card for an hour. And you can ask, yeah? So thank you so much for your company. Loved having you with me tonight. Passionate Saji, Mortali, and Margaret, and of course Carla. Sherry, wonderful to have you along. And Dare, and yeah, Pugsley and Carla Kendall. Thank you so much. Always really enjoy sort of our time together. It's great for me. I hope that you enjoy it too. Do pop on to the YouTube channel and make sure that you don't miss anything. And you can always send me a message and let me know. And if you're doing the courses, just let me know how you're getting on. Yeah? All right? Oh, bye, Andrea. Thank you so much. Bye. Bye, everybody. I'm going to play you out now with our usual. See you on Tuesday.